So Kevin, what is it you said? Basically, for like you have clients, but you're like, what if they stop working with you? What can you do? Right.
Yeah. So basically, I'm trying to have a sustainable line of network. So if a handful of customers stop using my services, at least I still have a few more people down the line.
So
Yeah.
one of the things I would be looking at is how can you increase the lifetime value of a customer? How can you get your existing customers? How can you create more stickiness in the relationship so that
Mhm.
they use you more frequently?
Yeah. I mean, do you have like a turnover rate, a high turnover rate for what you're doing, Kevin?
What do you mean?
Like, do people work with you and then they kind of stop after a while, or they stay still?
Uh, they stay. So
Okay.
the handful of clients that I have right now are have been working with me for like the past year. Um, but the value is not going up. It's I'm still charging them every month. There's nothing much more I can add, unless I expand. So if I have more people, I can do more for them. So I'm currently at my limit. So I
Sure.
need more people to help me to upsell my services.
Yeah.
I got.
Eventually. Event.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I just have a quick question. Are you in a space where you work with any artists? Because I know that as far as graphic design is concerned, a lot of artists are usually looking for album covers or
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
Merchandise.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So the thing is, I started with album covers, but
mm,
then um, uh, artists usually, I mean, no offense, but artists usually have a certain budget,
yeah,
and
bro.
the the volume of sales that they can give you is, well, it's not much, but then it's there, but it doesn't have the ability to upgrade or give me the ability to upsell, because artists are creative people, and you can't really give them a solid plan and they'll follow with it. It's still up to them sometimes.
Yeah. What would
You
artists?
understand?
Usually we don't have a lot of money. A lot of artists just
Yeah.
start. But what does happen though is if your work is good
Hmm.
and if you're, I guess, not, I wouldn't say give nothing for free, but if your work is
Hmm.
good and you have some things that you can just give the artist, your name will spread around to the artists that are actually doing some good numbers where they can afford album artwork and their level of consistency and be able to build those relationships. But I know that space is probably hard to navigate through as far as monetary wise, but word of mouth wise, you'll spread like wildfire, especially if your work
I
can
don't
speak.
I don't buy into the thing that artists don't have money. Like one of the things you could do is just get real creative. So
Hmm.
instead of saying I'll charge you for the art, why don't you say, okay, we're going to take some art, we're going to put it on some merchandise, and I'm going to take 10% of the gross of everything that sells. So,
Mm-hmm.
give the artist a cut, of the
Mm-hmm.
action.
But the a lot of artists, and that's just on the level that what I mean, from the ground up. They don't even really think that way business wise. They're very
Hmm.
creative people. So like as far as
Yeah.
like their concern would be the type of content that they're putting out and not really so much monetizing it. And a lot of them like that little balance.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, so there's two kinds of artists. There's the ones that treat their art like a business, and there's the ones that treat it like a hobby.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
you don't want to work with the people that treat it like a hobby because they're not serious. You want to deal with the people that treat it like a business, and they
Yeah.
know that you're going to help them brand their band. You're going to help them set an image.
Hmm.
It can help position them, and your artwork on that band selling maybe T-shirts can really like make the band more desirable and make more people want to go on watch them in concert, or buy
Hmm.
their music. So
Yeah.
there's two kinds of problems in the world. There's the problems people will pay to solve and the ones people won't pay to solve. And so
Yeah.
Kevin, you've clearly got a gift and some talent, and
Hmm.
you deserve to get paid for it. And so it's really about identifying who is your ideal customer and who do you want to work with. So you can put you want to like combine niches side by side.
Hmm.
Like I could work with these kind of people who have this kind of problem. And then you want to judge your niche by three characteristics. Number one, can I get them a great result? Number two, do I like working with them? And number three, can they pay me? And it's
Mhm.
kind of nice to have all three. If they can't pay you, they're not your niche. Okay.
Mhm.
True.
Yeah.
And do you know your target audience? Like, do you know your ideal avatar, like the person you want to market to specifically?
So usually my target market would be people that want to start a brand or they want to use themselves as a brand, personal branding basically. So somewhere along the lines of that, people who have a lot of money to spend and want to do something but don't know how. Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, so I mean, so do you have like a funnel for that and things like that, or like a funnel, or what's your like sales process? Do you have a sales process?
Uh, for now, it's just DMs in Instagram and
Just
sending
Instagram
emails.
DMs? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little bit of backstory. So everything up until now it started from Instagram. So I got to know Ray through Instagram as well. So I was kind of free in the beginning. So I DM like I don't know 300 400 people a day, just to see if I got a response. And one day Ray liked my photo and I DM'd him and we talked. And so here I am today. So I guess I still believe in the power of DMs.
Mhm.
It might seem like it's very minuscule, but it's easily accessible, and everyone's online nowadays. And you get a faster response than an email or a phone call or cold calling.
Your Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um.
No, chat is where more sales are happening now than ever. It's
yeah,
where people are connecting and advancing the conversation.
yeah,
Because I think they feel like they're talking to a real person than just like it's another funnel, some things like
yeah,
that. So,
yeah.
Kevin, one of the things that popped into my mind is you said you wanted people that are kind of startups, that need branding, but
Mhm.
then you also said you want people that have the money, and startups typically don't have the money. So
Yeah.
maybe what you need to focus on is I work with established businesses who are ready for
Uh-huh.
rebranding.
Okay.
I don't do website design, I do website redesign. Okay.
Hmm.
A lot of people already have a website, but are you totally satisfied with, the results from your website? We've all heard that
Hmm.
the internet is where everybody's going to make, millions and billions and trillions of dollars. Are you getting
Yeah.
your fair share? You
I got
probably already have a website. Is it performing or is it underperforming?
Hmm.
I will help. I don't do website design. I do website redesign to make your website more powerful, more impactful, to drive more sales. Okay. I think you're going
Yeah.
to attract people that way. Because if you say, I help people do a website design, well, I already have a website, so I don't need you. But if you say, I help people do a website redesign, it's like, are you totally satisfied, you know, with the results from your website? Now there's a
Hmm.
chink in the armor. Now we could have a conversation.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that the biggest thing to take away though is a lot of people in the startup and even in any of the arts niche is they they don't really have a lot of money, major
Hmm.
budget. Art is something that you have to fund initially for yourself. So like say for instance, you as a graphic designer, that's a form of an art. You have to pay for the tools and the computer and everything
Yeah.
that comes with being able to create the art, and the same with any other artist. So it's one of those, it's one of those places where you have to invest first. So but I was going to ask, how is it like do you have a high turnover rate with your clientele or right now? Because I know that me as an artist, I just redesigned my logo, but
Hmm.
I did the design with the guy that did my last album artwork.
Hmm.
Um, and I hit him up when I want, when I need something, or if somebody's like, hey, do you have a guy? And I'm like, yeah, I got my guy Alan, and I just shoot over his information.
Hmm.
And it wouldn't be, everybody that deals with me will be a paying customer.
Hmm.
But I know for him and his process, he's done a lot of pro bono work for people. But his name has gotten out there majorly. So now he's at the point where I'll throw him somebody and he's like, man, I can't even take him right now, but he does
Hmm.
great work as well. and he's a very cool guy, you know, and he really gives you 100% of his attention on anything that he's, you know, any vision you have. Now, my artist, on the other hand, I love Alan's work because it fits me, you know, but my artist, he's not really into Alan's work as far as album artwork is concerned. So everybody has their own flavor as well, you know, which is another thing to think about. Just
Yeah.
remember,
So
just
what do you
artist
I think Kevin, you're saying like that's why you need to build your personal brand, because the more you build it, it's like people will come to you as opposed to you having to keep on getting clients. You know what I mean? If you build your brand, like look at Gary Vee, he built it to 8 mil. Do you think he's searching for clients? No, they're like coming to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why building your personal brand is so important. Have a free what's up, diversibility. This is Tiffany. Yeah. So this is Tiffany. She's an amazing, she's also on Clubhouse. We hosted a Clubhouse room in Asian Hustle Network. But this is Kevin. We're
Yo,
talking with Kevin
hi, Tiffany.
about
You know,
big-
Kevin, one of the things that comes to my mind is Christian Audiger and Ed Hardy. Christian Audiger, you know, created this line of tattoo art, all signatured Ed Hardy. And then what he did, I mean, the art was great, but it wasn't selling. But what he did is he put that art on people like Britney Spears on the red carpet. He put that art on Madonna. And because his art got attached as the brand that they were wearing, his brand blew up and he became a multimillionaire. So, you know, you do great art, but now like what ways can you get creatively put your art on in the spotlight?
That's a good one.
So hopefully that helps, Kevin. Does that give clarity a little bit?
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the advice. It really helps me. My brain is turning right now. Turning a lot.
I want to follow you on IG in case anybody's looking for.
Okay, I'm gonna drop it in the chat.
Let me share it right here. So what was it again, Kevin? It's Riverflow Design, right?
Yeah, it's only on Instagram. I don't have a Facebook.
Yeah, so this is he designs a lot of cool cover art, so you check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this was you know, whatever questions you guys have, just chime in on Tiffany. Oh yeah, right here, Riverflow Design. So I helped you get to 10K, but I guess some dropped off, huh? His artwork's pretty good. You could check out. I'm screen sharing it right now.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, so check out Kevin. He's a cool designer, and he uses a Linktree. So if you guys aren't using Linktree, you could do that. And testimonials of client work.
Finally did my Linktree.
Yes, Joe. Yeah, nice. Good progress on that. And so social media specialist, social media design and marketing, creative. Need help? DM me, let's talk. So that might be a little too generic. I'd maybe write maybe exactly what you do, or maybe having like something free. Like I have like a free ebook, you could offer something free, you know?
Yeah, I'm still working on my ebook.
Oh nice. We're using Canva.
Yeah. Nah, I've been using it's just on a scrapbook right now. It's not been digitalized.
Okay, not digital.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's something to do, and utilize those story highlights. I think people don't realize your story highlights. You could highlight things about you and things that people might not know, that you know, people will be like, oh, that's cool.
There's this new thing called like a catalog or something.
Oh, like a guide.
Yeah. Do you use that?
I haven't tried using guides, but you could try.
Okay, cool.
But
thanks for showing them my Instagram.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
I'm following you now.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Send him some work. Just kidding. And Tiffany, do you want to kind of introduce yourself as well? Tiffany's a beast as well.
Sure. I took myself off video and then I saw what I look like, and I'm not Zoom video ready. So I took myself off video.
It's okay.
I'm only Clubhouse ready. But yeah, so I run a disability advocacy organization called Diversibility. And we're all about building disability community and building a community rooted in disability pride. So that profile picture that's coming up is a photo of our community at the Disability Pride Parade when we were gathering in person, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I think I'm kind of at a point where I have kind of like Tiffany U as a brand as well. And I do a lot of like diversity, equity, and inclusion work that for corporates that is very much centered on disability inclusion, while Diversability is its own separate brand, and that's more focused on grassroots community building and self-advocacy.
What support do you want? Like, how's the Instagram going? Do you use Instagram to promote your stuff, or how's
Yeah, so
share your page so I could share the thing here.
Oh, can I put I'll put the link in the chat. So we just finished participating in a 6-month accelerator program through Facebook, which was super exciting. To be honest, we had never invested any effort into our social channels. And so we actually grew organically, I think probably up until about 15K on our own of just people finding us. And then through the Facebook program, we got a little bit of ad credit just to play around with how we would grow if we were able to do ads. And so I think what we found was that Facebook ads were like much easier to do to get follower growth, while Instagram ads were really more around like trying to create that viral content. And so if you scroll down, and I feel a little bit embarrassed, but if you look at our first 2 posts, I think this is so I feel embarrassed about our Diversability feed because it's very inconsistent. And one of the things that I was proud about was that we actually handed over the credentials to our account for half the year to feature Instagram takeovers of our community members every other week. So that also meant that we were because we tried doing this like one white post, then one post that's color, one white post, but then with the takeovers, it just became really messy. So in 2021, we've actually hired a branding agency to help us kind of come up with a cleaner color palette, more consistent fonts, and then we've temporarily paused the takeovers.
Okay. I'm still scrolling down, so much content. So so you said the first 2 posts, you said to go back to it?
Yeah, so I think what was interesting, and this is what I've been like trying to take ownership over, is I really wanted to be deliberate about not trying to feature. So what I tried to do was I tried to make most of our posts very community centered. So you'll very rarely see like a photo of just one person, because I really wanted to highlight our community in community.
Okay.
And then I also tried to be not visible on the page.
Sure.
Like, I mean, I'm in some of the photos, but I really wanted it to be about our community. But I'm also realizing that like I'm the best advocate for this brand. And in a way, I'm like one of the faces of it. So I should be okay, like having myself on there. But right now, I think you'll see a little bit of shift in our content, in terms of we've now moved to more of these like Instagram guides and more educational content heavy posts instead of images. But yeah, I'll pause there.
So did you post your guide here? Is it on here? Is it the guide?
We have one guide.
One? Is it that?
No, you got to click on guides.
Okay. Yeah, so this is what Kevin was asking. He's like, do you have a guide? So this is a feature on Instagram that you can make, right? I think it's pretty recent. National Day of People with Disabilities. And then you created this on Instagram's platform?
Yeah. So there are kind of like 2 guides that we're creating. So for example, like if you click into that post, that will be like a carousel of information about International Day of People with Disabilities. That post actually did really well, right? And to
Yeah,
me,
it
I
did
thought what
really
was,
well. Yeah, it got 1,000 likes. That's pretty good.
and you can see that I liked it too because now you follow me.
Yeah.
But I think what I liked about this is I thought what was interesting about it is that to me, like I didn't feel like we were providing any groundbreaking information, but I'm also understanding that like we did a poll where we asked like, hey, how many of you identify as disabled and how many of you identify as non-disabled?
Sure.
And the numbers came out to like 60, 65, 35
Yeah.
on the Instagram poll. So I also realized that we just have a lot of education and information that we can disseminate to our community members.
And do you feel like the guides get more reach than regular posts?
Yeah. So what's interesting with like the actual tab Instagram guides is that you can actually bring in other posts. So this was kind of like a guide on like everyone who made a guide on International Day of People with Disabilities. And I
Yeah.
don't know if they get notified, but I think this was us trying to play around with like every single time Instagram's put out a new feature, they always want to like amplify it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like someone else's guide. But yeah, I mean, I'm finding like disability guides to be so popular now. So we've been trying to just reframe everything in terms of guides. Yeah, this from the WHO.
Okay, so you could literally repost carousels and make that your guide too, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out.
'Cause you made this guide, right?
Yeah, so we made this guide. But I'm curious. Yeah, I don't know if you've made a guide, but
Oh, I
I'm
have
curious
not yet. I should.
because I'm not sure if I can make like every slide of the carousel its own page in here.
Yeah, this is like other guides. I don't know if you've seen other guides. They look a little different. Like they have text on there. It's not just carousels. So yeah, that's what yeah, but I think this is a good idea if you're doing informational products and not just products, but things to it's like a blog. It's like a blog, right? That's what it seems like. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I thought what was interesting is that, you know, even with the ad credit, we actually only grew 2K
Mhm.
over the course of the program.
Sure.
And I think a lot of that had to do with because if you go back to like our main page,
Sure.
I just think we have like inconsistency in our branding of our guides. So uh,
Didn't you hire someone you said for the branding part for the guides or
yeah, that's going to come in 2021. So stay
okay.
tuned. So yeah, so now we're playing around with like, can we be more consistent with our fonts? So if you look at the first two posts, we're
Yeah,
playing around with like that bold handwriting font.
yeah. I'd say posts like this do really well. The thing with like you know, just a plain background and some I think this has too much text to be honest, but I think you're doing that pretty well. What I would recommend is use your geotag because when you geotag you get a lot more exposure on your posts. And
Yeah.
then I think
Like
I'll
what
you know,
location do you think we should put though? Because our whole team is remote. Do I just pick like some
just
arbitrary place?
I think wherever you want to target people, it could be different places too. But geotagging just helps for to get more visibility on your posts, you know. And so that and then using double worded hashtags, right? Which you're doing disability awareness, Spoonie, and you're getting some pretty good engagement. So I would say you could use, you know, double worded hashtags that have you know, that get more reach as well. And then
What do you mean by double worded hashtags?
so instead of just like mental, it'd be like mental health, or instead of disability, it'd be disability awareness, right? So
Okay.
and instead of just disabled, maybe like disabled veteran
People.
or you know something
Yeah.
like that. And so yeah, and then these types of posts do really well, something that has like a clear background and just text informational things like that. But you guys have been posting for a while, and I know that the main issue for you is growth. And so for growth, the best way to grow is to get shared. Is well, first of all, the best way to grow is to create shareable content. So if you can create content that's very shareable, you know, the guide, I don't know how many times that was shared, but if you create content that's shareable, that people will share and spread around, that's a good way to get exposure.
Yeah,
and
I
so-
think I think what was interesting was around the time of like George Floyd and Black Lives Matter in June, we posted a statement around just because we're disabled like doesn't mean that we don't also have privilege, we don't also have race privilege, and that actually grew us from like 10K to 15K, because I think we were a first mover there as well, because what I noticed was that a lot of people tagged other disability organizations to make statements, um because I think there was just some assumption that like, oh, we're marginalized as well, but it's also just like a different issue and it's all intersectional. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was actually like part of our plan for this accelerator, was like, how can we create more like quote unquote viral, like intersectional content?
Yeah.
But it came down to like a bandwidth thing. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if you scroll down a little bit, we have like a turquoise green post. Scroll down a little bit more right there with disabled isn't a bad word.
Where is it?
Just scroll up one more. Yeah,
Just
right there. Like
Mhm.
that post, like literally that was a repost of someone else. And I think that's like our most liked and most shared post.
Oh,
And it
wow.
was simple, right? But it's
Yeah.
just like a clear statement, well designed.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. And then you're getting a lot of engagement. So are they like buying your products, or like what are you guiding them into? Like what's the goal for this? Like raising awareness? Like what are you
Yeah.
giving a lot of community? What are you trying
Yeah.
to reach them for? Yeah.
So the call to action is that first one is the to join our community. I will share that we are going to be piloting a paid membership community in 2021. And so we were directing everyone here, and then like as part of the membership questions, like you could specify whether you were disabled or an ally. Um, but yeah, I think what I struggle with like these like social impact communities is like, what is our call to action, and like who are we catering to? Like, are we catering to disabled people, or are we catering to non-disabled people?
Yeah. Um, so what's the main obstacle right now, I guess, or struggle for you that
On
that you want support with, I guess, or advice on?
I don't know. I mean, I always feel like I like learn stuff from when you do it like on our own account or other people's accounts, but
Yeah.
I think I was just curious to get your thoughts. But I think I like totally agree um in terms of like trying to come up with more shareable content that looks aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think our biggest like reshort, I mean, are you the type of person who like growth hacks based on like searching other people's hashtags and like engaging with those? Like, I don't know if you
Yeah.
have
I mean, so
strategies around
yeah,
engagement strategy and growth.
so if you just click the what's this button called? Like the
The
button
drop
next
down.
to the drop down button. Yeah, you could see all the accounts that are kind of similar to yours. I don't know why Kamala Harris or maybe, or the ones that come up are the ones that are most associated with your account. So this is a method that you could use to kind of see what are other pages in my niche and what are they doing, and how are they doing their content. So you just click on a couple of them, that drop down menu, and then you see
Yeah, I love this account.
yeah, so just literally click and see what hashtags are they using, and then based on that you could copy those hashtags, or see how that does on their posts. And so this one is super simple. It's just a clear background with text, right? Those do well. And I would say so this is disability visibility. This is another one that's just around yeah, so like things like this, I guess they would, if you have stories or pictures that are eye-catching, or doing reels. I don't know if you've thought of doing reels. Those are good ideas to get more engagement, because reels are being pushed out by the algorithm a lot, just like
Yeah. Oh, actually, this is a good question for you. I don't know what my reels would be of. Like,
Um,
would I get like community members to do like this is what I'm struggling with like as a brand because like we just launched Diversability on TikTok. Like I have Tiffany as a personal account, but and then we have like Diversability as a brand account. But like I'm struggling with like what Diversability's video content would look like. Like, is it just going to be a photo montage of our community together? Is it going to be personal stories? We did pilot doing a video series. I don't think we posted it. Yeah, we didn't post. We didn't post it to our IGTV, but we featured a couple of our community members kind of sharing their stories around disability and mental health.
yeah,
And
I think that'd be awesome.
yeah, so maybe more stuff like that. I did ask our
Notes.
community members like, hey, can you record a video for us about what disability means to you?
Yeah,
But I only got text responses. So maybe I'll like dig into it a little bit more. I think what I feel nervous about with Reels is like, is filming it on an iPhone okay? Like,
yeah,
I don't have
it's totally fine. Just iPhone is fine. It doesn't have to be like, so I mean that's Instagram wants you to use your phone for content. So people think, hey, I need to make this super HD camera, cinema type of video. But no, that's not the case. You could just use your iPhone. And it's good quality to make that. And Reels and TikTok, that's the same thing for that, you know. And so yeah, I would if you have
Tiffany, I have a question for you. Is there any like, do you have members that because like their lives are improved because of Diversability? It seems, the problem with Reels is they're very short, like what, 15 to 30 seconds. So, oh, I'm grateful for Diversability because they give me a sense of community, or
Yeah.
I'm grateful for Diversability because they really do amazing things for disabled people or whatever. I think those kinds of things would, like, highlighting the like how your
Impact.
organization is impacting individuals might be powerful.
Yeah. We have our testimonials kind of stored in a little Google Doc, and I don't think it'd be an issue to go back and ask them to record them in a selfie video. Yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
yeah. And
Or
then you
just
use
chop up those existing videos and turn them into short segments.
Yeah, and even these takeovers, you can maybe have them do little reels, and then that'd be a great way to get exposure. Um, but as far as growth, like I was telling you, you're gonna get those unicorn posts that may get you like 5,000 followers, but the way to grow, like what I would do is I would look up. So I grow people using theme pages, but if you look at so there's theme pages on Instagram, right? Around any niche. I don't know one like about a disability so much, but maybe if it's like around the quote, like a quote page, like positive quotes, something like that, then that can like the good quote, but they're really big. But you might want to find a page similar to them and then have them shout you out and ask them for shout out prices. And that's another way of, growing your audience. Um, but that's not guaranteed. So if you want like growth campaigns, that's what I could
Yeah.
do.
What do you think like the range of pricing for something like that is?
Uh, so one of these, like 1 mil page, I know that they could charge anywhere from like 100 to maybe like 500 a post, but the amount of followers you're gonna get is not guaranteed, obviously, and it has to be a good piece of content. So I would, DM them and ask them for the prices, and then use a piece of content that got you a lot of followers on your page, on their page, and that could be a strategy to grow. Or like for example, I grow people to 10K for around like 2 grand, but that's using theme pages, like theme meme pages, and these are just real followers, US followers, but it's just to get the numbers up. But if you want targeted people, I would search for those specific theme pages and grow through those shout outs. But that method isn't really guaranteed followers, um but yeah, that's a way to get more exposure for your content, what you're doing, you know. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
yeah. Um and James is actually one of my good friends. He does international school. James, you want to introduce yourself? He hosts he helps international students like get simulated, I guess. You want to share, James?
I'm just sitting and eavesdropping on this phone call, but I can introduce myself. I'm James. I work mostly on WeChat and like social media platforms in China. So I help schools do marketing and reach out and recruit international students that want to come over to the U.S. and like stay with the host family or stay in a boarding school. So that's what I do. And Ray and I bounce ideas all the time. He does mostly Instagram and American social media, but I think a lot of the principles are transferable. Wouldn't you say so, Ray?
Yeah. So we went to the same college, went to same college together. And what was it? So WeChat, I think so this is super interesting because China is a huge market, right? And people, most social media is focused on America, but there's a huge social media market in China as well. And in Asia, I think WeChat is taking over. I don't know if they have TikTok in China, but they have their own version of whatever social media we have here in America. And so, so what I've seen like Gary Vee do, for example, he's translating his content to Chinese and getting it shared. I think maybe James, you're sharing that. And so I don't know much about the Chinese social media apps. It'd be cool to hear what your thoughts are, James, because you have more experience using those apps,
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think there's definitely like a greater barrier to entry. If you're trying to use like the Chinese version of TikTok or you're trying to use WeChat or whatever, usually it's a little bit harder to get it set up. Sometimes it'll be in Mandarin. The interface will be in Mandarin, so there's some extra obstacles. But the benefits, I'd say, are like I see it as sort of like the Wild West of the internet world. And so it's like a lot of things that have been done on Instagram or have been done on Facebook and that we're doing over here are not necessarily like fully developed over there. And so it's a cool opportunity to kind of bring in, because essentially like the two internet worlds like exist separately. So you're sort of going into a new internet world, and they have their own video content and they have their own way of seeing things. And so when you're bringing in stuff from America or from a different culture, I think you have an advantage because you're competing with a lot less people. So that's what I think is cool about it.
So what like for your company, what you're doing, are you doing their social media? What's their handle, and what's something that we could, maybe I could
You can look it up on WeChat. You can follow our WeChat account. We're all on WeChat.
Can you show or share the link in here? WeChat link.
Let me see if I can. Here, I'll find it and share it in here.
I think Tiffany, what would be cool is, I don't know if you want to expand into like WeChat and things like that, but that's another huge opportunity to grow your audience. I don't think people think about that, but yeah, that's
What you do on WeChat, you join groups.
Yeah, I think James.
Yeah, so I mean they would have on WeChat the main sort of your vehicle is the brand page, which are called like official accounts on WeChat. So that's essentially like your Facebook brand page. So that's essentially your website in China. So that's where people go to find your About You section, kind of what programs, what products you have, and then all your recent like blog posts. So everything is sort of based on official accounts, and then you have your individual accounts that you use to like post stuff onto your feed. Because just like with Instagram and Facebook, like most of what people are seeing on a day-to-day basis is what their friends are sharing. So even though it looks completely different on WeChat, it's still the same principles. We tried to create content, like I heard you guys talking about creating content that's shareable. And I like Tiffany's idea of kind of like doing polls and then releasing like the results of those polls. So we've done some stuff like that too before. I mean, because the key to what we do as well on WeChat is just engaging our target audience, providing them information and answering their questions.
What's their Instagram handle?
I think we had an Instagram from a couple of years ago, but we sort of stopped because right now the countries that we're focusing on, they don't really use Instagram. So we've sort of focused on Facebook and Well, we have Facebook for our students that are in Vietnam. You guys can look that up if you want to. Wheaton Academy, Vietnam.
Share
I'll
the
send
share
a
it in the
link in the,
chat.
yeah.
Yeah. And then let me share. Yeah. So this is. Can you guys see my screen still? Yeah. Or no? Let me see. So let me share. Tiffany's. She shared her. She shared her. This is Tiffany's Instagram. Go check her out at Sev Entrepreneur. She's super active on Clubhouse. So yeah, she's. I think you moderated today too, right, Tiffany? Like a lot of
I did. Actually, we had our first disability chat,
Wow.
and we were so nervous. We thought no one was going to show up, and we had 100 people show up, which
Whoa.
is so
lot.
cool. And the
lot.
conversation was 4 hours. So I'm actually feeling a little bit digitally fried, but
Yeah.
didn't want to miss this.
Yeah, for sure. So that's why I wanted to give you like tips as far as like things you could do for that. And the reels ideas, and if you have questions, I guess as far as like um I mean like engagement and things like that, you could do you could ask as well for that. But I think yeah, geotagging for sure would help your visibility. Like what is there anything else I guess you had a question on specifically for your social media?
No, I thought that was great. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. And James, you want to share the links to your things? Because we want to make sure we help everyone as much as we can. But
On WeChat, I don't think I can. You have to send it through WeChat. That's the annoying thing. You kind of have to be within their system over there. But I can show you guys the Facebook page for our Vietnam. This is a Vietnam page for one school here in Illinois, which we just
Sure.
started this last year. So that's kind of exciting. We're using Facebook to reach out to families in Vietnam. Most of them aren't English speakers, but I'll share this one in a second.
yeah, and I think Tiffany, you should I mean you've built your personal brand to 12K. I think the more I'm sure that the more this grows, you're gonna be the face of it. And like what I've seen is companies, they tend to have a personal brand attached to it, and it grows more because of that personal brand. So if you've never kind of shared your story of like why are you passionate about this, I think that'd be a good thing to let people know about as well. And maybe you could
Yeah, maybe like an intro, like a re-intro post on the Diversability account.
Yeah, and just like telling you, hey guys, I'm the founder, I'm Tiffany, this is why I'm passionate about this. um and and being the representation I couldn't find, right? And so if you go into that and maybe have a part that shares your story, I think that'll be very powerful, so that'd be awesome. Yeah. That could be like an IGTV or something else, right? And so yeah, hopefully that helps. So I'm waiting for James, but uh so you're not monetizing this right now, Tiffany? Or like you're just it's just like a passion project right now?
Oh, sorry. So the way Diversability is monetized. So two things. One is currently the way Diversability is monetized is through my own like consulting in the disability space, and that helps like pay for our team because we have a team of like 7 people.
Yeah.
They're all part-time, but they're awesome. But one of my realizations out of this accelerator program is that I'd love to figure out a way for Diversability to be generating its own revenue, which is why we're going to be testing out kind of like the waitlist pre-sale for a premium, like paid monthly subscription.
Sure.
And then because what has ended up happening is like, I guess exactly what you said is like Tiffany's like working her ass off, like going out and like doing these corporate things. And then that's helping fund this passion project. But it also means that like I've been running this passion project for 11 years without like paying myself.
Dang, 11 years. That's a lot. That's a long
I
time.
know we've been around a long
Wow.
time. And so So yeah, so I've actually been thinking a lot about like succession planning for the brand too. And so if we can like get it to a
Yeah.
place where it's making its own revenue, then I think I would feel more comfortable like handing it over to one of our community members or having it run on its own or who knows. Or like bringing on
Yeah.
more community managers to help.
Yeah, if you've done this for 11 years, you haven't made money, then this is for sure your passion. But you should find a way to monetize it because I'm sure, basically, if you can solve a problem, you can make money. And the problem you're solving is awareness and helping people learn, like people with disabilities, learn how to um, be
Become
celebrated.
self-advocates.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I
So,
think what's interesting is like the reason why I continued doing this was about 5 or 6 years ago. We got approached by like the New York Public Library, and
well,
they asked us if they could pay Diversability to bring in some of our community members to talk about their experiences at the library. And that's actually when we realized that like, hey, we could actually like have a paid product here where people are paying for our community's lived experience expertise. The
yeah.
only thing is like I just like haven't had capacity to like do business development or like create more volume on that side of the business.
Business development, things like that, like how to like structure the business, you're saying?
Or like business development in terms of like we know we have a community of like so many kick-ass disabled people who like
No.
can help provide like design advice or like I think about like some of the user research that I've done for like the Apple like figuring out how to better design their iPhones or Airbnb trying to figure out how to make their spaces more accessible. And we're just like we have all the people.
Hmm.
It's just figuring out how to activate them through these different partnerships with larger brands. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think for me it's like putting together those packages and like being a little bit more relentless.
sure.
But yeah, I just haven't had. Yeah, it's like interesting because it's like on the one hand, I spend most of my energy like continuing to build our community, but then on the other hand, to keep it running, like I need to go out and continue like chatting with the different like brands and companies and stuff.
Yeah.
Are you a 501c3?
No, so Diversability, we're a for-profit, and that was actually intentional as well, which was we actually partner with a lot of nonprofits. So sometimes, so before the pandemic, our main thing was we hosted events, and so we also had ticket sales from the events, and we used to, or every once in a while, we would partner with a nonprofit and have a portion of our ticket sales like benefit that disability nonprofit. But I thought like one of the interesting dynamics that exists within the disability space, which probably exists in a lot of other spaces, is that there's a lot of infighting and like scarcity mindset. And so part of the reason why we decided to be a for-profit was we didn't want disability nonprofits to like view us as competition for their grant dollars. And so we have been able to find ways because like our operations are so low, it's literally just like a skirt space site. We have a couple like part-time contractors who help manage our community. Like none of these are super large dollar amounts. And the good news is, as part of this accelerator program, we got 45K. And that's gonna help us, I think, set up the infrastructure to help like create the paid community and like better set up. Like we have a page on our website that's called Work With Us, but to
Sure.
make it more clear, like, hey, you can actually pay into supporting our mission as well.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, definitely find a way to monetize because you're putting so much work into it, And
Yeah,
It's a strange business model.
yeah,
yeah. So I mean, but I mean, she's built an audience and she knows what she has a passion for it. So if you're wanting strategies, I guess for growth, campaigns or whatever, like we could talk or hopefully you can implement what you learned here as well and just see how that goes as well. Shout outs and also what would be good is use something called user generated content. So in your community, I don't know how many people you ask people to tag you, but you could have them tag you and then you could like see look at all these people they're tagging you and you could post about them and their stories right on here. So I'm sure, how big is your online community right now?
We're pretty small. We're about 3,000.
But like those 3,000 people, like, so what do they do in your community?
I mean, they're like chatting about all sorts of things. So some people need like more support, like, hey, I'm getting ready for the job search. Do you have any tips? Then you have
Oh,
people
okay.
sharing articles.
So
Go ahead.
maybe
Oh.
you could create like not a paid program, but something where people can network and like a paid, not mastermind, but yeah, something like that, you know? If that makes
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
that's what we're
'cause you
like. I
have the
was ta-
audience, you just haven't monetized it yet, right?
for sure. Yeah. I mean,
Same
one time, like we often will get like inquiries looking from companies looking for speakers, and we'll post the opportunity in our diversibility community, and then we'll have like 14 people respond, right? So
Yeah.
it's like we need yeah, it's like if we can continue to, I guess, elevate our brand. But one of the things that I thought was interesting about both our community and what our mission is like, and I was telling someone about the accelerator program, and they're like, Tiffany, it sounds like where you get the most excited is about like accelerating disabled people, right? So how can we figure out ways to like upskill them or like equip them with more tools to be better self advocates or more confident or empowered in who they are?
Yep.
And I think that,
You know, mhm.
yeah,
I think
I'm perplexed with the whole business model because you're operating like a nonprofit, but you're a for-profit. And so like as a, as a
Yeah.
business development coach, my question is like, what's your core offer? What's the one primary epic thing that you sell?
yeah, I mean, what we sell is our community as speakers. We do run a speakers bureau, and we charge we have a 20% referral fee. So when we're able to place our speakers, then we are able to collect that 20%. But those speaker rates can range from like $500 to $5,000. And so yeah, I mean, we have it built out, which is we have like event sponsorships, and we've definitely had those. And then we have what we call branded partnerships. So it's like corporates who want access to our community. So that's either like paid content on our blog or sponsored posts through our Instagram. And then we have our speakers bureau. So all of that money is like diversibility money. It's just like not at the volume per se that it could be, like a highly profitable business.
So are you at you're less than 5K a month or?
I think we're about like 10 to 15K a month.
Okay. That's significant, but you have significant overhead too.
Yeah, I mean, we have been growing our team. I mean, we doubled our team within the past 6 months. Everyone on our team is also disabled, so we kind of have like talent incubator as like part of what we want to do, because what we end up doing is we serve as job references for all those people who are on our team, and then they end up doing kick-ass stuff too. But yeah, it's it was interesting. As part of the accelerator, I was like, hey, like I think we need to convert from a LLC into a nonprofit. And when I spoke to our mentors in the program, they were like, Tiffany, even like it doesn't matter what your legal status is, because it sounds like you just lack a little bit of confidence in asking people to pay you for things.
Yeah.
Because we've actually done like incredible partnerships with like the Lean In org, which is Sheryl Sandberg's foundation. And like so many people are like repurposing our content that I'm sure there could be an ask there to be like, hey, I saw you, and like Facebook, like we've done stuff with Facebook before, and like the Ford Foundation. And it's like, how can I actually turn that into a relationship that has dollars attached to it, rather than like, oh, this is a good thing to do, right? It's kind of that exactly what you're getting at, Joe, with like the nonprofit is like, oh, we just do this because it's good. But then I think what I'm challenging people to think about, and myself, and what I'm trying to learn is like, how can I convince people that this is good and worth dollars?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a 501c3, what happens is you're required to support other organizations, and other organizations are required to support other organizations, which could be yours. So, it sounds like your organization could be a hub for other organizations, and you could be giving to them and they could be giving to you. You can also, you can have a for-profit arm and a 501c3 arm. So, like maybe there's an arm that just runs thrift stores, for example, and brings in money. and then, a large part or portion of the profits go to the 501c3, which is really doing the good, doing the actual service work, or, improving lives.
For sure. Thanks for the feedback.
Isn't Sheryl Sandberg the CEO of Facebook, or who is she again?
Oh yeah, she is the COO of Facebook. I feel like I'm so intertwined with like the Facebook ecosystem. But
Hmm.
yeah, we've done a couple stuff with the Lean In org. And so like we have so many like great relationships. I mean, like my background is in the corporate world too. So like I worked at Goldman, and then I worked at Bloomberg, and a company that was co-founded by P. Diddy. And so I have like a lot of those, like I still have like a lot of relationships in those worlds too.
Okay.
And so
Dang.
yeah, it's like I know there's like a lot of power, and like Ray, you and I are like on Clubhouse too, right? Like there's
Yeah.
so much power in our network right now that like what am I doing to activate it? So I
Yeah.
do have an executive coach, so I am working with my coach around like trying to get more confidence around like really. I think the other part of it too is that like my Asian mom never saw this as a real thing, and like now that we've received funding from Facebook, and like really, and like that was like the largest monetary investment that we had gotten from an organization of that caliber,
Yeah.
and visibility, to actually say, okay, Tiffany, this is a real thing. Yeah, it's been your passion project, but like now it's time to take it a little bit more seriously.
Yeah. And this can eventually maybe replace your full time. Or you're working for full time right now?
No, so I guess I do my like DEI consulting work full time, and then I mean, technically it all just like feels like the same thing, because in both scenarios it's just like disability stuff all day. But yeah, I actually transitioned out of the corporate world in 2017, because there was a certain point in time with like after the New York Public Library thing, we started getting a lot of other inbounds, and it felt weird to like not be like spending more time like dedicated to those relationships and making sure we were placing people, and stuff like that.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, maybe, yeah, this can seem like this can be your full time thing, and maybe it could grow bigger, right? To become a huge community. Um, so yeah, I would say, honestly, you have such a power in the community you've built. I would have them tag you like on their stories, on their posts, and that way you're gonna get a lot more traction, a lot. And it seems like you're already noticed by Facebook, these big people. It's just a matter of getting them to tag you and create content for you, and that way you don't have to be the. Are you creating all this content? Who's creating all the content?
Yeah, we're creating all the content. Actually, that's a great piece of feedback. I mean, we get tagged in so many things and like
Yeah,
tagged in all these stories.
yeah,
And I think my learning from this conversation is that, um, if any of the posts that we're tagged in are like doing particularly well, like asking that person if it's okay to repost, and then reposting that, right? So
yeah,
it's a
of
boost for
course.
them, and it's a boost for
Exactly.
us.
And that gives them more incentive. That's what I call user generated content. And you get your clients and customers to tag you in their posts and their stories so that it shows up to their audience. That's another way of getting exposure. For you, August, or this can apply. Oh, did it this can apply to whoever. Wait, did I exit people? I don't know what. Wait, no, everyone's still on the call, right? Let me see. Right? Okay, cool. No, I was saying like for August, you as well. You could have people who listen to your music tag you in their stories and things like that. But then, oh, I just put you guys all in this group. That's why. Okay, cool. But yeah, so that's what I'd say. And I think Tiffany, you too. You're saying you feel bad for charging, and that comes down to a self-worth conversation. And this is something that I've always struggled with as well. Like you have these great skills and abilities, but you feel like, who am I to charge for this? Because it comes easy to me, and that's like a self-worth conversation that you get to have.
Yeah, it's not about self-worth.
It can be, yeah. Dollars are connected to your self-worth.
Well,
Yeah,
like people, I sell high ticket,
sure.
and it's not about how much money I have in my bank account, and it's not about how much I have self-worth. It's really about the transformation that the customer receives.
Sure.
And so, like, when you start to realize, when people buy from me, number one, they come to me with a problem. and it's impacting them negatively, and I'm fixing their problem, but it's not a temporary fix. It probably will last a long time. Okay. And when you tangibly fix a problem, it creates intangible benefit as well. And there's a lot of emotions that come from, the intangible benefits. And it also, when you do that, like on a business level, it affects you personally. So you bring all that happiness home, and there's a ripple effect of all the work you do. And so there's a cost to doing business with you, or a cost to doing business with me. And there's a cost to not doing business with me. And so the cost of not doing business with me is huge and very expensive. So you want to think that the easiest way to make $10,000 is solve somebody's $100,000 problem. If somebody has a $100,000 problem and you can help that problem go away for only $10,000, that's considered a good deal. And so it's not about your self-esteem or your self-worth at all. It's about the fact that you're changing people's freaking lives.
So I guess the hardest thing for me is, how do you quantify that? How
I
do you,
just gave you 10 pieces.
what do you mean? 10 pieces for?
I just ripped through 10 pieces of how you quantify it, and how you, when you go through those 10 pieces, it helps you have confidence in your pricing, because they come to me with a problem. It's number 2, it's got a negative impact. Number 3 is I'm solving the problem. Number 4 is for a duration. It's not a flash. Some of the things that we do fix people's lives for not just now, or for the hour that we work with people, but it could be a lifetime or 10 years of benefit.
Yeah. So I guess Tiffany can think of how is what I'm doing transforming lives, right? And that's like, you could put $1 to that, even though she's been doing it out of a pure intention for 11 years, which is awesome.
Look, this is
Yeah.
what business is. Okay, the measure of wealth is not how much money you receive; it's how much you give, share, serve, impact, improve the lives of other people. And when you know that you're a massive contribution to the people you serve, you can feel more confident and comfortable charging a solid fee for what I'm giving, and you're better off as a result. Giving is better than receiving, because giving starts the receiving process.
It's more blessed to give than to receive, right?
Well, you can't give without a receiver, but if you give to the client, if you give to the disabled people, if you give to the community, and people are like a whole lot better off, then the small, the $10,000 you're paying me is tiny compared to the $100,000 of benefit and the ripple effect of that we're doing to the community, or for the community. Does that help, Tiffany?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that framing.
Where'd you where'd you go to school, Tiffany? Just curious.
I went to Georgetown.
Oh, Georgetown? Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. But then you should have Sheryl Sandberg on your podcast. Have her interview or something. I see you do podcasts. What made you, are you still gonna do that?
Oh yeah, I do have a podcast.
Yeah.
So I am looking for guests on my podcast. The podcast was a pandemic project. It was something that I've always been like really curious about, longer form content.
Mhm.
But I really used the podcast as a way to like highlight social issues, just
Sure.
like across a whole range of things. And so by the end, so I actually had to pause the podcast because the accelerator was too stressful.
Nice.
But my last couple of episodes were all about Black Lives Matter and really looking at it through an intersectional lens. So I did a couple episodes on like Black disabled lives and where they saw themselves within the movement and their experiences. But yeah, I don't have enough space in my bio to link the podcast. But yeah, returning in 2021, I'll start recording again. I need to get and I did all of this like without a microphone. I did it all with my headphones and it was very DIY.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I mean, I had Brian Pham on the podcast, who's our mutual friend, to talk about hate is a virus, which is about anti-Asian racism that was happening at the beginning of COVID.
Sure.
But yeah, it was also, I think, exactly like you said, Ray, it was like I do acknowledge that I have a platform, and how can I use that to elevate other people and the incredible work they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. So Kevin had to leave, but that's fine. But yeah, I think I want to acknowledge you for that too, because it's not easy to do. This is obviously your passion if you've done it for 11 years, and it's just a matter of monetizing it. And I think you're the opposite of most people. Most people are like, hey, how do I just make money off of them? But you're just like, hey, how can I serve? And I think money will come in leaps and bounds for you just because because you're taking it that way. You're starting to
You know, an idea that changed my life was this idea of what is the purpose of a business. And the purpose of a business is to create a customer. So without paying customers, you don't have a business, you don't have money, and you don't have anybody to serve. And so I think that's always a grounding principle, Tiffany, is, who are my customers and how can I create them, over and over and over again? Like, who are the people with a problem that I serve that will pay me money to solve their problem?
No.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that, one of the exercises we did through the accelerator was really working through our theory of change, right? And so in a way, we're like serving two people, right? Because we work with the corporates, those are our paying clients, and then we serve the disabled community. And so it was like, which part of our theory of change do we want to spend our energy focusing on, right? Continuing on building our relationships with the corporates and the foundations, or continuing to build our community. So I think that's.
I think if you're doing great work in the community, you can go back to the sponsors and say, look, this is what your funding is really helping us achieve. We're doing even more, and we would love, your continued support.
Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah, I'm going to work on, part of our 2021 plans are to like totally rework our website and really make it more clear about like, here's how you give us money. And here's the benefit that you're receiving. But right now it's very like CSR, like corporate social responsibility worded and not very clear. So
again, I just think that, you're operating like a 501c3, but you're not a 501c3, and you're not getting the benefits of being one. And a lot of companies, they can donate to a 501c3, but they can't do it outside of that, because the 501c3 gives them tax advantages. So I think you're really losing out on an opportunity to produce income because of, you just don't have the legal status that allows people to cut you big fat checks and get the tax advantages that come with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen it done a couple different ways. I have another friend who runs something that helps provide like micro grants to wellness practitioners of color. And she's been able to get, and she's not a 501c3 and is able to get like $25,000 checks from like Lululemon and Nike. So I know it's possible because for them, of course, it's kind of like the 501c3, of course, is an amazing tax write-off. But at the same time, for organizations that are that big, they're probably just like, okay, let me put it on my corporate credit card as well. But I can definitely see it from both perspectives. I think for us, it was a really strategic decision that, we haven't really seen the economic fruits of that, but we get a lot of acknowledgement from within the community around trying to reframe a narrative that disabled people don't need to be the recipients of charity. And that because what we're doing is like the people that we're replacing, our speakers that we're replacing, they might be disabled, but like they'd be the same as any other speaker, any other corporate speaker that you'd probably bring in to give like a motivational talk or whatever.
I think I would be a good guest on your podcast because for disabled people, I help people start businesses, and what we do is inventory. What are your skills, talents, abilities? And so, of course, a disabled person can be an entrepreneur. You don't focus on what you can't do. You focus on what you can do.
I think what you should focus on are stories. So focus on stories and share their stories of, you know, empowerment. Share their stories of, hey, this disability doesn't make me less of a human. I'm actually, you know, way more competent than other humans, you know, who have both arms and legs. And I don't know if you know this guy named Nick Vujicic. He doesn't have arms and legs, and you know, he I heard him speak before at but basically, yeah, it's like you hear his story, and you hear it, the more that you share people's stories, the more people will be inspired, and the more that I think your company will grow for sure. And you know,
Yeah, for sure. Thank
yeah,
you.
so that those are my 2 cents. But anyways, yeah, I think August, do you have any questions? I don't know.
No, I'm just soaking it all in, and yeah, I really like your brand, and I followed you on Instagram, and
Yeah, August does music. He's a musician, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I think are you guys getting my emails? I'll send so I send like notification of this in my emails, but if you're not, or I'll have to DM you, if, you know. But those are, you could sign up for emails there, and I'll send emails on these Q&As on Mondays. But yeah, let me know how that goes, Tiffany. You know, your guides, obviously your reels, and then August, you too. Um, but hopefully that was helpful. You know, hopefully yeah, that that gave you some information. Um, yeah, and then Joe had to leave. Cool. But yeah, August is also on Clubhouse. That's how I met. I met, yeah, August and Tiffany through Clubhouse. And so I'll probably be moderating again in the future, whatnot. But we'll see. August was in the room we hosted, but
Clubhouse
yeah.
is great.
What time is it for you guys right now?
12:30 on my end.
12:30.
It's
Dang.
9:30 for me
Yeah.
on the West Coast.
Yeah, I'm in the West Coast. I'm in Cali. Where are you in? August?
I'm in Delaware.
Delaware? Okay, I've never been there.
Small state.
But yeah, are you guys gonna go on Clubhouse now?
Yeah.
I think there's a big, I just got pinged. It's like so interesting. It's like, I don't know if ping is like someone's like actually pinging me, but there's a room right now about the real reason your brand is not making you money. It's like are you part of like the social influencer club?
No, I haven't heard of that.
Anyway,
I'll,
so I'll see you guys back on Clubhouse.
yeah, ping me into there, and then I'll
Okay,
check it out.
awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but thank you guys, and we'll chat again. Yeah, probably in Clubhouse or something.
Cool. Nice meeting you, August. I'll talk to you guys later.
All
Meeting
right,
you.
see ya.
Bye.